Hello, hello. We have a very special guest on GOAT Game Agent on air today. And it's our first episode with Eileen and Jakub. Of course, Eileen is our host. I think he is mobile gaming legend from my side. Like everywhere on LinkedIn, on events. He's kind of famous, I would say, a celebrity. So today, we would like to know more about Jakub and from not only business perspective, of course, the fun side to an off-gamer side, of course, his favorite games, his life. So, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for the intro. Definitely not legend yet, especially by the year count, because there's not that many years. Like 10 is okay, but not that much. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Of course, we are having happy for having you. And how about how much you are happy for having the second baby?
Yeah, that's. I'm super happy, especially about the logistical exercise that will like follow. So yeah, we're preparing everything for that, and super happy that it's gonna be a girl. So my wife's super happy because now we have a boy and a girl. Because she wouldn't even admit anything else, just the usual. But yeah, everything's kind of, I guess, a little bit wind down, so you won't see me at PGC or Games from Barcelona, unfortunately, and stuff like that. So we'll get a little bit of a pause here.
And like, what is the first event that you will make this year?
We already did the event in Korea. We always love to go to visit our friends in Asia. We have a lot of good friends there, and especially the knowledge and the trends are like completely different to ours. So it's great to see different perspectives on site. So that was one in like early January, and my next one, if everything goes according to the plan, which is very, I'll be probably in Dubrovnik. I think that's the closest one in mid-April.
Okay, that sounds good. Actually, my second question is kind of related to traveling. Like, we always end up chatting about Japan and Pokemon stuff. Like, I'm actually personally curious about like why and how, why this love for Japan and more.
Yeah. So I started collecting Pokemons when I was like 6, I think, something like that. So, and I never stopped basically. It's mostly like these things snowball, I would say. Like if you like, collect the cards, watch the anime, then you watch some more anime, then you watch pretty much nearly half of the anime at some point. And yeah, for me it's like very nice hobby in a way that like I just, basic principle that I can just tell you when you're watching like any random TV series on Netflix or whatever compared to anime, is just that people in Japan, because you need to watch anime in Japanese, like English voiceovers isn't really the way to watch it. People really put their soul into it. Like you could see that like the difference in this voiceover dubbing is just like on another level. And the other thing is that the story is just much more dynamic and unpredictable because you can kill off anime characters at any point. Like, no kind of contracts with actors are broken. So imagine like the thing where people were all over Game of Thrones where they were like killing all the characters in like super unpredictable way. Like in anime, it's default. It's like anybody can die anytime and get back anytime. So the stories and everything that they can do is just like much more dynamic, I think. And anime is not really even something like you would say like a typical series or some kind of a genre. It's more of a like art form. So anime can be literally about everything. So you can go from like 3 years old Doraemon, the blue cat thing for kids, all the way to like Death Note or stuff like even Netflix is now big on anime. Like they're doing Witcher series basically in anime and like Castlevania and stuff like that. So it's more of a like art form. There's even Lord of the Rings movie now in cinemas, which is done in anime. So that says for itself, I would say.
Yeah, that's actually pretty much solid. And I also personally watch anime more and more these days because it's not like just old days. It's not just for fun. There are like so much high quality stuff as well. So my second question is another personal curiosity. I think like whoever had a call with you before knows that you are very famous with your winter background. I think it's been there for the last 48 years. What do you think? When will this chain be broken and the next will come?
Yeah, the winter background that I use on my calls to hide the mess that's left by my son, usually behind me. So yeah, that's there. I think at some point when we were having these like Zoom calls during Corona, people were kind of started having these, and I was like, why not? I should also pick one. I guess the time I would change one will be probably when I actually made my own one. That's probably because I just like need more creativity, and this is just not worth it. Kind of changing it now because it's like what could be better than like mountain cottage in winter?
That's fair. Well, you kind of answered our next question, which was one random hobby or interest outside of gaming, and you said collecting Pokemon cards. But let's just say outside of collecting Pokemon cards and gaming.
Yeah, I would say my most kind of weird hobby would be HEMA, which is a historical European martial arts, basically fighting with swords and stuff. So I used to do that for 10 years, pretty hardcore with like 3 trainings per week. And yeah, that was like one of the best experiences I had in my life. I would say I just don't have time to kind of train anymore, and my sparring partner, which was my trainer basically and very good friend, again got 2 kids and life happens. So yeah, I'm just going to the gym normally and don't like spare that much. But the thing, and like this whole kind of sport basically is still alive and like kicking very well, especially now in Europe. It's super good because it's not really something that you see in the movies, and this also, by the way, destroys a lot of movies for you because you suddenly know how these things work. It's basically just, it's in the end basic math and geometry and stuff like people turning around each other with showing their backs with their swords and doing these like pirouettes and stuff. Like it's complete bullshit. Even like Star Wars, for instance, like some of the scenes in Star Wars, like, people trying to drag each other with their swords clashed is like you're dead. You're just like instantly dead. And like you're now watching some choreography of a movie like Star Wars, for instance, like yeah, he was dead here, he's dead here again, he's dead. Like this is completely dead. He would be dead 5 times and like stuff like that. So yeah, but it's really really like I would say sports wise is very very good and refreshing because you need to move your whole body. Most of the stuff is surprisingly in legs, not hands, because you need to move pretty much unconsciously with your legs independently of your hands. That's the most kind of hardest part. And the other one is that you need to feel the blade of your partner or like enemy or whatever, because it's super super dependent on the style of your opponent. Like if he's strong, you cannot be strong against him because he'll overpower you. Therefore you need to go around him. If the other way is true, you need to be strong because you can overpower him. But yeah, my kind of thing was always the German school of the longsword, which is very kind of simple. It's always like if the best defense is attack.
Let's just say if you could teleport to any country for a weekend getaway, where would it be?
Japan, of course.
Okay. Never getting enough of Japan.
Yeah, like I was there at Tokyo Game Show last year, and we were there literally for a week. And I would say, like, out of that, like 3 days were business, 4 days were just like me going around Akihabara, the anime neighborhood, because it's just so good. You don't see this stuff here in the West at all, and it's like only Japan works like Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and actually, he even told me, I think last month, like in supermarkets they have like products with Pokemon for anything.
Pokemon's like super strong there. Like pretty much everything can be branded by Pokemon. Like you can see Pikachu's face pretty much every 20 meters there if you're walking the supermarket. And yeah, the brand just lives super strong. And if people think like Pokemon was whatever 90s thing, it's not. It's just like I was there at the Sunshine City, which is like the biggest shopping mall in Tokyo. And there's literally like 3 floors on the shopping mall dedicated just to Pokemon. There's the biggest Pokemon center in Tokyo. There's like Pokemon Pikachu Cafe that was like sold out all the time. There's Pokemon Go special merchandise store point. There's pretty much they have a plushie of like every single Pokemon there nearly and stuff like that that you don't see around. Yep. So yeah, it's live and kicking and very well.
Crazy. Actually, another question that I'm really curious about, like how did you start your first career? Like about the education wise, first job? Because like in our industry, almost everyone is kind of like out and then they
find themselves in the game industry suddenly.
how was it for you?
Yeah, nobody wants to like, oh, I'm gonna work in EA when I'm 5 years old. Yeah. This is like one way nice, another way like it's kind of a curse of our industry, unfortunately, that it's not really easy to get into it. For me, it was, I would say, the same thing pretty much. I love video games from my childhood, like from pretty much like 5-6 years old, and I never stopped. So that's there, but it never dawned on me that I would be working in the industry. So I would say I was pretty much following like kind of, I guess, conventional career goals, like get a high school, get a university degree, find some job and stuff like that. I was really drawn, and I'm still drawn to psychology, which is my PhD background there. So I was there at the school, and like psychology is great in a way that you can pretty much connect it with anything you like because there's psychology in it. Like it's just like everywhere. And yeah, I did my bachelor thesis literally in World of Warcraft. It was like about social interaction in MMO communities. Literally a survey. I was like get on one big server and got the game master's approval that I could go do the survey live in game pretty much.
Crazy.
Then I built my own demo and my own lab in Oculus Rift in 2014. It was called the Metaverse back then because I was following the research of Stanford University, and yeah, like it was always kind of I would be doing these things. I wouldn't be the couch guy when you go and like tell your problems and stuff. I was always kind of working in the lab and trying to do experiments. And at some point, one of my people that I surveyed pretty much and that went to the experiment told me like, oh, we really need this help with the VR game that we're working at Pixel. And he keeps coming to my office, and at some point he said like, I keep coming here all the time, like why don't you work with us directly? And suddenly I find myself in the gaming industry doing a VR game that we did for a year, and it was pretty good, I would say, but yeah, unfortunately the VR market ended where it was. And then I pretty much discovered that like all the things that these people are doing here regarding the free to play is pretty much like behavioral psychology. Like we're building Skinner boxes, pretty much operational conditioning, gacha boxes, and stuff like that. It's very, very close to psychology. So I hop into it and pretty much never left because it was very engaging, and it was pretty much in a way the same thing we did in the lab where we run experiments. Now we just call them A/B tests and do them on a very giant scale, but it's just pretty much the same thing for me.
Yeah. I think that's really cool that you have a background like this because
Thanks.
I don't see any other person that has a background like this in the gaming industry. Do you?
I know a few. Like for instance, if you know Celia Holden, she's the epic girl that did the UX UI for Fortnite and stuff like that. There are few, but I would say very few because usually for game designers, I think it's a good background, but I would still say that stuff like programming and math is better, especially on PC indie scene, which is just you can code your own stuff. But for free to play and like for our kind of type of industry where I don't need to code and like I couldn't even, so it's a little bit better in some ways. But yeah, you need to like do the hard part and play the games, learn and like do stuff that's kind of unconventional. Nobody will tell you that at school. That won't help you at all.
Well, we want to know what's been the most rewarding and totally unexpected part of your career. We're talking about like I didn't see that coming type of moment.
Didn't see that coming. There were a lot of rewarding things, I guess. I remember when we were showing stuff on Gamescom, when I was literally 5 days talking to reporters and journalists from 9 till 5, which was like never thought I would end up in a spot like this. And that was when we were having the VR game, so it was, I guess, a little bit different environment than our usual kind of free to play, PGC kind of vibe. Like those were literally like just normal people. I remember at some point like even New York Times picked up the game and put it into article about like what they saw with like new VR stuff. So yeah, that was like very, very interesting, and especially like when we were going around what was it? Yeah, just going around Gamescom hallways back then and like seeing for the first time people like Palmer Luckey or like all of these people that you hear in the news, and like suddenly like you're there, like. Good that I didn't really went to kind of tell them anything because just like too scared to, and not that big of a fanboy won over me yet. But yeah, it was really nice, and like you wouldn't really think that you would get there at some point. But yeah, now it's different, of course. Say this, and yeah, and the last thing, I never thought I would be doing ads. Like at some point at Replied, which was really great experience when I was working in Tampere in Finland to some degree during Corona. I picked up, let's say, Filippo taught me, our marketing guy there, how to do ads, waterfalls, pretty much the stuff that Felix does, like ad monetization and all these things. What am I doing? And it became super obvious to me, and like I learned a lot of stuff. But of course, I didn't pick it up now for like 5 to 4 years, so can really, I would be basically a total noob now because stuff's changed so much, and you need to kind of keep up on the edge to be useful in that at any point in that industry. But yeah, that was super interesting. Like how just to see how this kind of external funnel works. And even on the podcast, I think it's super interesting to know how these other areas of game industry works, even though you're in the game design. But it's super important to know how marketing works, how ads work, how this whole funnel works, how all these things like inside out work. You don't need to know, like be able to do them, just know how they work. So you can then like keep them somewhere in the back of your head if you're designing stuff, because you know that it's there waiting for you.
Sounds really good. But I think you're famous too. Like everyone in the gaming industry knows you. So.
Not that much, but yeah, thank you. We'll do all we can.
Actually, it's funny, like whenever I'm talking about Jakub with my Turkish friends, the name is also kind of Turkish, like there's Jakub name. They are saying, which Jakub? I'm saying the Jakub, like celebrity. So yeah, you're famous in, at least I can confirm, Turkish gaming industry.
That's always happened to me in Istanbul. Like when I go from the airport to the city with a taxi, it's like always Jakub, and they start Turkish all the time.
Yeah, actually, you like mentioned about some like game design stuff already. I'm personally super curious about gacha mechanism, and like literally almost every week you write about it over like Tune Off Gamer's side, also like chatting about it. But I think not everyone knows what exactly we mean when we say gacha. So like, actually, we just want to know about it a bit from your perspective.
Yeah. So as always, everything goes back to Japan. You should go there and see it full scale, because I think only there you will truly understand how powerful and important gachas are and how they took their population basically by storm there. They have even laws, by the way, that prohibited specific types of gachas that we in the West don't care about. That's why they are allowed here. So yeah, there's much more suitable stuff online if you want to read on this. I really recommend Serkan Toto's blog. That's I would say the biggest expert that I always learn
Turkish
most of my
guy, okay.
Yeah, on gacha, where he pretty much explained a lot of these things that I throughout the years, like pretty much read all of it. So that would be my number one recommendation. The other thing is with gachas, people think that like it's just loot boxes and stuff like that, but it's not really, in a way that game designers and like game industry took it as a progression and monetization mechanic, and it's very hard to build. There are certain rules that are not really obvious to the surface that people usually skip all the time, because people just think that gachas are about like, pool of tokens, like we have, I don't know, 50 characters and then some like epic, mythic, common drop rates, and that's it. And now you don't. So this is just like one piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle is the width and like pretty much the mathematical function of gacha, like how much it can, consume duplicates, how much can you roll it, how deep it is and stuff like that. Also the third and most important part, which is completely hidden, like why do we even roll it? Why do I need it? And is there, like the typical ABC problem? Like if I have this character, can it solve all of my problems? Or is it just like I need to have, like a water Pokemon now because there's electric Pokemon, so now I need the rock Pokemon, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of these mechanisms and parts of the gacha. Like think of it as some kind of like car engine. And people just talk about on the surface of it, like how nice it is and produces a lot of money. But there's like so much sophistication under it. Literally for me, like there's like 30% of time that I do with my client studios, I'm just like fixing gacha mechanics and progressions, because they are either not well understood or people don't just kind of get the point of why they did this or that. Or again, it's just by years you see what works, what not works, and like how these designs evolve. For instance, in my opinion, like one of the biggest breakthrough in gacha is like Supercell kind of design, which they started with Clash Royale, which pretty much does that. In Asia, gachas are 0 to 1 binary situations where it either drops for you or it doesn't drop. And it's kind of very unforgiving, but it plays still well in Asia. That's how it works. In the West, we have this kind of like, say, like more forgiving version where you have these shards. So you still get like legendary shards very fast, like very frequently, but you need to, accumulate them still to upgrade the unit. But the feeling is there. It's like your legendary doesn't drop like once a month. which is like normal for Asian gacha, right? And you're lucky, by the way. Because I remember when I was playing, for instance, Empires and Puzzles, for a year, I never got the 5-star hero ever.
Oh,
That's how Asian gacha works.
okay.
So
Patience. And
yeah, and you know, not really the patience. There's the frustration tolerance when you now spend because you really want it. That's how it's supposed to do. But yeah, compared to like Supercell's design, where you have the shard gacha, which is again very forgiving, it's just different. So it's really important to understand these mechanics when you're doing that, and when you pretty much decided that okay, we're gonna go for gacha progression in our game, because gacha is then the main thing that your game will monetize on, that will engage people on, and that will die on if it's not done properly.
that's a good ending. How important it is. Well, everyone I think wants to know what's your go-to mobile game right now, and if you had to explain why in 3 words.
Go to mobile game right now. So currently, I'm really playing hard Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Of course.
Yep. So 3 words is nostalgia, because that's like nostalgia will monetize. The other word is giant revenue, because they have giant revenue, even though they're declining a little bit now. But the third word is expectation. And that's my main thing, why I'm still playing it, at least, because there's so many unanswered questions they said they're gonna answer this month, where they're gonna implement the trading system, which I'm super curious how, because it could literally destroy the game in like 2 days. Then they're going to implement their first new big set. They already did one in January, which spiked their revenue to all-time high, like 7 million a day. So I'm expecting something like that soon. And yeah, we'll see, because it will be like, it was never, I think, done properly in the mobile games industry to have like a trading system that works in a gacha game, because trading systems and gacha games don't really go kind of together, whereas skipping the randomness of the gacha is like number one rule, not to do stuff in gachas. So we'll see. Like the rumor is that they're gonna only allow like low rarity cards to trade, and higher rarity cards won't be tradable, which then will make the trading kind of weak to begin with. But let's see. But I'm super curious. I think that's a good game to follow these days, and it's not really that demanding. You can just sometimes it's more about collecting than battling itself. So we'll see how they're gonna resolve that.
Yeah.
That's actually cool, and of course, gacha is there as well. So
Yeah, gacha is there. It's a very
important.
strong gacha.
So we actually now enter the fun zone. So we prepared some little games for you.
Yeah, I didn't read them purposely. So
Good. That's good.
It's basically quick fire, and let's start with it. A good summer vacation or a winter break?
winter break, of course.
Superheroes or super villains?
I think superhero still.
Outdoor adventures or cozy indoor?
Oh, the adventures are also good. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't sit at home all day.
Digital art or traditional drawing?
Digital art means NFT, then traditional drawing.
Single player or multiplayer?
Single player, definitely.
Board games, card games?
I mean,
Ad monetization, IAP?
IAP, for sure.
Mobile games, console games?
I never owned a console, so mobile game. PC Master Race here.
Then, mobile games, PC?
PC for sure. We'll end up cross-platform anyway.
Yes. Merge or sword puzzle?
Merge, for sure.
Match 3 or Blast?
Blast, because I did the Blast game before.
Runner or Idle?
Idle. Runner's dead? Sorry. No way.
Survival or hidden objects?
Survival for sure. That's much more engaging in my opinion.
Solitaire or Tile?
I think it's solitaire now, because like the new wave of solitaire stuff that's coming, it's kind of tile-ish to begin with, but yeah, it's, in my opinion, much more interesting.
Halušky or kebab?
Oh, halušky. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, this is like a traditional food fight. Halušky is the traditional food here in Slovakia, the national food, which is this kind of very strange type of cheese, like unfinished cheese, I would say. That would be a good name, which we have a patent in the EU, by the way, with bacon and these potato dumplings. So that's halušky, and kebab is kebab. Like the whole world knows kebab because it's everywhere. So yeah, halušky for sure.
all right, for the next game, it's gonna be you picking your winner game. So I'll give you like 2 names of the games, and you'll pick one, and then we'll continue with the game.
Okay.
Okay, so Capybara Go or Clash Royale?
Capybara Go.
Okay, Capybara Go or Brawl Stars?
Brawl Stars.
Brawl Stars or Pokemon Go?
Pokemon Go for sure.
Okay, Pokemon Go or Pokemon TCG Pocket?
Oh yeah, let's go. Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Okay, Pokemon TCG Pocket or Royal Match?
Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Okay, Pokemon or Royal Kingdom?
Pokemon.
Pokemon or Match Factory?
Match Factor is super strong, but still Pokemon is Pokemon.
Match Factory or Monopoly Go?
Monopoly Go is very good.
Monopoly Go or Archero 2?
Archer 2 is gonna be even Capybara Go, so Archero 2.
Okay, Archero or Dark War Survival?
Archero.
Archero or Whiteout Survival?
Whiteout Survival. that's
Whiteout Survival or Gardenscapes?
Whiteout Survival. No,
Okay,
no way.
Whiteout Survival or Candy Crush?
Still Whiteout Survival.
Coin Master?
Whiteout Survival.
Okay, Whiteout Survival or Clash of Clans?
Whiteout Survival. Forex is Forex.
Survival wins for the best game you chose.
I wouldn't say the best game is the best money game.
Yeah.
I was like in the beginning so scared because like we put Pokemon Go to like third one and okay, he will pick Pokemon and like
No. Like, don't get me wrong. Pokemon Go is great and like Pokemon TCG also, but Whiteout Survival, that's like another level of like pretty much what they're doing and how Forex behaves in the current environment and then the innovations that did, even on the UA side, on what they're doing. So completely different game. Pokemon is Pokemon because it has this strong IP. Without it, it wouldn't be nothing. So I'm sorry, that's just like not comparable expertise.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for my building for like 2 days to like complete. It's just, it does it well.
Yeah, we actually have a new game on the blog that we're gonna do a podcast today from Century Games, which is the High Seas Hero, which is actually 3 cores.
Really?
So yeah. So not 2 but 3. Really looking forward to that one. It's like this stuff is evolving just too fast.
Yeah, it is, I think.
that has been a cool one. I really enjoyed and like it was our first experience and Jakub already has been podcasting for the last 58 years. So thank you for joining us, being our first one. And please feel free to do the ending. Jakub, take over.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Wishing good luck with this and like to like a lot of other episodes because I think there's a very interesting format where we don't really talk business, but we talk about people from the business, which is still kind of important and brings a little bit of like human to our LinkedIn posts full of success and everything and money, which is kind of all we see there. So that's great. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening. And if you want to find me, feel free to reach out either on LinkedIn, on our Slack channel, which is open to everyone. Feel free to join that one.